Total Health in Grand Pavilion. Change the way you manage your family's health. Visit www.totalhealth.ky or call 333-2222.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Here's your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning. Welcome to the Business Buzz. It's a beautiful Thursday. It's hot on the outside, 86 degrees Fahrenheit right now. 89. Oh, did a jump there, Susan. Good morning to Susan. She's holding it down on the other side of the glass. She's managing the camera, just about everything else this morning. Good morning to our guests in the studio and, of course, to our listeners and our viewers on YouTube. This morning we only have one segment on the Buzz, and we continue with our regular segment with the RCIPS, which is every second Thursday of the month. In this segment, we learn more about crime prevention for businesses, specifically anti-robbery tips, also acquisitive crime, the impact it can have on our community, how it is investigated, and what is being done about it. From the RCIPS, our guests are Chief Superintendent Brad Ebanks and PC Jodi-Ann Powery. She's a police media officer from the RCIPS Police Service Media and Communications Unit. I always get that wrong. Good morning. Good morning, Jodi-Ann.
Good morning, Ms.
Chief.
Anita.
Yes, good morning, Anita.
How are you both?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's a slow day today so far?
So far.
That's good. It calls for coffee, right?
Yes.
I feel like you just jinxed us.
Oh, no. It's going to be a slow day today. No. Now, before we delve into those tips that you have lined up for us, Jodi-Ann, can you give us an update on any arrests made pertaining to the armed robberies?
I'll hand that one over to the Chief Superintendent and have him talk about the stats so far.
Okay, thanks, Jody. So far this year, Anita, we've had 31 robberies, and that is compared to 15 last year, year to date.
Almost just about 100%.
Just over 100%
jump.
Increase. So from those incidents, 12 persons have been arrested. 4 persons have been charged in relation to those robberies. In addition to that, we also have files that are currently with the Office of the DPP for ruling. So we expect some additional charging for those incidents of robberies as well. So we're making progress, but this is a great concern for us, for the RCIPS and the current government as well, that we're seeing this spike in these incidents, these armed robberies. So we're doing whatever we can to help mitigate against future incidents. So
since you notice there's an increase, right, or there has been an increase, what is the trend? What is trending? It's always something's always trending. What is trending with these robberies?
Well, what we have noticed is that quite a number of the robberies that have taken place have been against businesses. Mm-hmm. And in particular, they've been against smaller businesses that open late or open with a 24-hour service provided to the public. These places are usually pretty isolated, or they are located in places that aren't very busy late at night. And so that is the reason why they're targeted. There's less of a chance of there being witnesses and so on.
So what crime, I know you have a list right in front of you. What crime prevention tips would you extend to these businesses, or businesses in particular?
Well, the first thing is, make sure that you have a proper security plan in place. Whether that means that you have CCTV on site, or an alarm system or both if possible, and to make sure that when you do install these systems in your businesses that they are properly installed. For instance, making sure that the dates and times are correct on your system, and making sure that the placement of the CCTV, if you're installing CCTV in your business, that the placement is such that it covers not just the cash registers, but like the entrances and the exits, or potential entrances and exits, and that they're not blocked by anything in the store, like props or anything like that, signs, for instance. And one of the things that is also very, very important is to make sure that you communicate with your staff and let them know what the plan is and what they should do in the event that something happens. Because gone are the days that, you know, we can say that wouldn't happen to me. It could happen to anyone.
You can leave the store open and go to Hurley's and come back, and somebody would take something and leave the money down on the counter, right?
That doesn't happen anymore, Miss Anita.
It used to happen a long time ago, though.
Those days are long gone.
Long gone.
Yes.
Long gone.
In addition to that, Anita, as Jodi alluded to, is that we want to make sure that store owners have a plan for their staff. Be vigilant and take action against any suspicious activity that is happening around the store. One of the recent incidents was, I would say, mitigated against getting any cash because they had a plan in place. And as the culprits entered the store, the plan was quickly triggered, and they had to leave without actually getting any cash.
Good.
So that was an attempt. Some store owners have implemented magnetic doors where they have to be let in by the staff, but we still see culprits showing up at the door with a mask on, and then the staff still letting them in. So just be very, very vigilant of who you're letting into the store, and so you can actually help prevent something like this happening.
In case you have somebody coming into your store with a mask, and people still wear a mask, you know.
I would go as far as to say not to let anyone in if you weren't able to see their faces. It's fine if you want to wear a protective mask to protect yourself, or if you're sick to protect the others, but pull your mask down. Let the cameras pick up your face, or let the service provider see you before letting you in.
So maybe if you don't have an intercom of sort, you can have maybe a notice on the door saying that maybe if you're wearing a mask, please, pull your mask down for a second or something. I don't know. Yeah. There's got to be a way around that.
But I think what is most important is making sure that you look at the person that you're letting in to make sure that they're not an offender coming to rob your store.
But then you might know
or cause you harm.
If it's a potential offender, or
if somebody has on a hoodie and a mask and they're standing there,
and
the chances
and it's
are
85 degrees outside.
yes,
the
chances are. So
they're not there to buy anything.
No, and you're not coming in there with a hoodie and a mask because your store is so cold.
Exactly.
They'll be there for a while. So, I mean, it just makes sense, common sense. Now, talking about those, going back to the cameras or your CCTV systems, you were talking about a date. Make sure the dates were correct.
Yeah. That dates and times are very, very important investigative tools for us. It gives us a map of when an incident took place and when it wasn't. And fair enough that, we could calculate based on the time of the report, but we wouldn't want to guess when we could have the correct information. So just making sure that when the system is being installed, that the dates and times are properly inputted, and checking ever so often, and updating the system ever so often is also important to make sure that remains the same.
Yeah.
How about nights? Some of these stores are open late at nights. What sort of tip can you offer them?
Well, one thing is, increase your security later at night, because the risk increases later at night. So
lighting, make sure
yes.
you have proper lighting. Increase the lighting if necessary.
Yeah. And, so in the daytime, if you didn't have a security officer, you may want to implement a security officer in the nighttime, for instance. And making sure that you talk to staff and let them know that in the event that something happens, what they should run through, what they should do, how to protect themselves and each other. And importantly, I want to encourage everyone not to resist if something does happen as well, because we can replace property, but we can't replace someone's life. So, just make sure that in the event that something does happen in an unfortunate circumstance, that you don't resist, you comply, and call the police as soon as possible, and we'll take it from there.
A lot of stores have, storefronts where you cannot see inside the building or inside the store itself or the property. What would you say to that?
Well, it's not advised, because members of the public won't know that something is happening to you if they can't see inside your store. So whether that means that your the tint on the windows is dark and you can't see inside from outside, or if that means that you have like posters or props in your windows that's blocking. Nothing is wrong with having posters and props, but place them in such a way that it's not blocking entire views of inside your property, whether it be your home or your store, just to make sure that in the event that something is happening to you, we can see from the outside and we can send help as soon as possible.
Okay. How about some of those businesses, they drop off cash. You have cash drop-offs.
That is very, very important, Anita.
Okay.
Very, very important. We want to encourage people to make sure that they do regular drop-offs throughout the day, especially if their business is very fluid, very busy. Make sure that you do regular drop-offs, but spontaneous drop-offs as well. Don't keep to the same routines all the time. And if you can, I know that a lot of the businesses, especially the ones that are targeted, they're smaller businesses. But if you can and you can afford to, I would encourage you to use the armored vehicles, if possible. But if not, just make sure that you're being discreet and that you're being safe and vigilant when traveling with cash.
Now, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
This includes as well, Anita, you're returning home from your business. You have to be very, very vigilant of your surroundings when you're returning home, especially if you're carrying any cash. So we advise that you really have a robust plan when handling your cash.
No, that's not safe to take your cash home, right? Or take your till home from your business.
Yes.
Not safe at all. No, we've seen where a lot of the especially one food truck has been targeted time and time and time again. What would you say to those people that have food trucks, say on the beach or in an open area, time and time again? The same food trucks are targeted.
That is a very unfortunate situation, Miss Anita, because, in the past we would have seen that it wasn't the food trucks that were being targeted, particularly because they weren't necessarily around as much, but the jerk stands, for instance, used to be targeted in the past a lot, and it's just a very, very unfortunate situation. But what I would say is the food trucks can implement the same types of crime prevention as the small businesses in terms of trying to have an alarm system or security cameras around. because security cameras and alarm systems, they now operate on Wi-Fi, for instance, and that can be installed anywhere where there's power. So we can implement these things anywhere that we are, and also make sure that you have a plan for your staff as well, which is key and important, and having on-site security if possible. Making sure that cash is dropped off as well, very often at food trucks, more so than even the stores. And also, I don't know, maybe going...
or maybe not take cash at all from your customers. That's hard.
That is hard. That is hard. But, you know, it's maybe placement of cash as well is important, making sure that the cash is stored out of sight, for instance. Yeah,
difficult to get to.
Yes.
Well, we've got to take a quick break. I want to say thanks to our sponsors this morning, Cayman Insurance Center and Total Health.
How life treating you? I don't know how you do it. Traffic, errands, and don't forget work and chores. There is no time. I need to get Sarah a dental check, and Grandpa needs a checkup too.
Oh, I'm no supermom at all. But if you need all services under one roof, look no further. Try Total Health. They offer such great quality care, and we're able to work with my entire family and our busy schedule. Guess what? They are open 6 days a week and welcome walk-ins too.
Total Health at Grand Pavilion on West Bay Road. From junior's x-rays to your daughter's dental care, their suite of services encompasses diabetology, ophthalmology, gynecology, ENT, physiotherapy, pharmacy, on-site laboratory, imaging, and the list goes on. Total Health is your one-stop convenient family healthcare solution. All the services of a hospital without the hassle.
Total Health in Grand Pavilion. Change the way you manage your family's health. Visit www.totalhealth.ky or call 333-2222.
Why replace when you can respray? At Granite Express Cayman, we can completely transform your old kitchen cabinets with a fresh kitchen respray for just a fraction of the cost of buying new ones. Big news! Our summer special promo is here. We are offering kitchen countertop specials up to 50 square feet installed for only $1,595 CI for granite and $1,895 for quartz. We can make your dream kitchen come true and at a price to suit all budgets. Call 922-0424 for a free estimate, friendly service, fast installation. Hurry! Limited time only while supplies last. Visit graniteexpresscayman.com.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to our sponsor this morning, Cayman Insurance Center and Total Health. We have in the studio, this is the police. Their time to be on the buzz every second Thursday of the month. And we have in the studio Chief Superintendent Brad Ebanks for the RCIPS and also PC Jodi-Ann Powery. She's a police media officer from the RCIPS Media and Communications Unit. Armed robberies. We're looking at stolen license plates. Let's talk about that for a couple of minutes. Recently, we've seen an increase in stolen license plates. Chief Superintendent, what can you tell us about that?
Okay, thanks, Anita. What we have noticed over the past several months is a number of license plates that have been stolen. And In return, those license plates are used on some vehicles that have been involved in these robberies. So we would have put out a press release advising the public if their license plate is stolen. They may think it's lost because that's not a usual thing for a person to be, going around and actually stealing license plates. So if it's stolen or if you believe it's lost, misplaced, please contact the police or 911 immediately. Make a report so we can actually start to look for that license plate. Because it is possible that license plate now would then be used to commit a crime, and that is actually that is being done so we can deflect the police actions as to where to locate the responsible person or persons.
Okay. Now, being a victim crime, what kind of long-lasting effects can this have on victims?
Crime has a huge effect on the public in general, but even more so on victims. Victims tend to lose their sense of security and peace when they've been victims of crime. They don't feel secure going out in public a lot of times, and sometimes, especially if they've been victims of crimes that have taken place at their homes, they don't feel secure at home either. So a lot of times it sometimes takes professional intervention in order to assist victims of crimes in most cases.
How about things like, I know rape victims, they do go through a lot. But let's talk about businesses in particular, like some of the owners and staff employees. How do they, do you have any sort of data on how they cope?
Well, no, we don't have direct. We don't have direct data on how victims cope. But what we do is that we have a victim care unit and we have victim impact cards that we hand out to victims of particular crimes that we feel may need some kind of intervention in some way, and it lists the different resources that are available to them that they can seek assistance from. And that's just our way of trying to ensure the well-being of the victims that we handle on a day-to-day basis. Our job and what we do in order to secure the victims is by making sure that we carry out a proper and robust investigation so that the victims of crimes can have justice in some way.
And you can imagine that being subjected to a robbery or any kind of crime of that nature would cause some psychological, or could cause some psychological effect on the staff, and a certain level of uneasiness, that person, returning to work and in fear that, this could happen again. If it happens again, is it going to be more serious? Is someone going to get seriously, hurt? So there's a lot of things to consider when we're looking at victims of crime.
Especially, say, an armed robbery.
Yes.
Especially.
Yes.
Okay.
One particular incident we had recently was one of the staff members was actually assaulted by one of the assailants. So.
But they're okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the investigative response like coming from the RCIPS? Walk us through what actually happens after a crime has been reported. Something happens, we call 949-4222. That's
911.
911 in
Yes.
this case. Okay.
Yes. Call 911 when there's an emergency, especially.
Okay.
Well, the initial report is taken, and there's a police response, and the response is usually appropriate to the type of incident that was reported to the police. The crime scene is then processed, and victims and witnesses make initial contact with the officers who will be investigating. And that means that, statements are recorded if statements will be provided, and if not, information is taken down and noted. Contact details are recorded so that we can have future correspondence and so on. And the sequence of events are then mapped out based on the information that's provided by our witnesses, victims, and any other evidence that's collected at the crime scene. And based on the evidence that's gathered, crime scene analysis and statements, and so on, we then take the investigation even further. Hopefully, the information that's provided leads us to a suspect, and we make an arrest and interview the suspect. A file is prepared and sent to the DPP for legal ruling. And once the ruling is back, hopefully charges are recommended based on the information that was provided to the ODPP, and the offender is then formally charged and sent before the court. But that is a very, very simplistic way of looking at an investigation.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes on between the initial response or the initial incident and getting to a charge. Much evidence and witnesses has to be collected and contacted. But involved in that process is our response to the incident, not only from a investigative standpoint, but we also respond with a view to find those that are responsible. So that's why we say to the victims, get as much information as you can that will help us catch these culprits shortly after they leave, or on their way from the location, or the next day, doesn't matter. But part of that response is getting those responsible and collecting that evidence.
So let's say once the file is prepared and submitted for legal ruling, is that the end of your responsibility at that point in time?
That's almost just the beginning.
Okay. Okay, now I know.
Yeah. No, our role continues until the trial is completed and a ruling is made in court. We continue to liaise with our victims through the court process. Our officers have to prepare for providing evidence during court proceedings as well. A lot of work go into the behind the scenes after a charge is laid. Yeah.
This part of the business buzz, it's an educational section of the police
Absolutely.
service, and that's
Absolutely.
why you guys are here.
One thing that has been very key to us, especially recently in terms of investigation, is CCTV evidence.
Yes.
And hours and hours and hours of viewing CCTV is poured into an investigation on any given day as well. And just like preparing CCTV that's been watched for evidence.
Now, let's go to the CCTV portion of this segment. I've got a question.
Sure.
Say a business has a CCTV installed, right? And you're a customer, and somebody hit your car in, say, the parking lot, and you want to get the information from the CCTV. How is that managed? How do you can that person get what's on the CCTV, or can they view it? How does that work? Who's responsible for whatever is on it, even though it's in an individual property? How does that, anybody from the outside, something happens, how can they get access to that?
A lot of times it's best to start at a lower level and work your way up. My suggestion for that, and I mean, the chief superintendent can correct me if I'm wrong here, would be, because it happened in a parking lot between two individuals.
Just using it as an example.
I would suggest, just going in, speaking to the business owner, explaining to them that, you were patronizing their business, and your vehicle was hit in their parking lot, and you would like their assistance in viewing the CCTV to assist with finding out who hit my vehicle or who was in the wrong or whatever the case may be. and I feel for the most part that a reasonable person would agree to assist. But in the event that that isn't the case, then I would probably escalate the matter to, say, make a police report, and then we take it from there.
Okay.
And we have a very, very efficient technical unit
Yes.
that can assist with actually retrieving that CCTV footage if needed. So yeah, we're very proficient in that area as well.
So if it's something to do with traffic, you'll head to the traffic department, or if it's something to do with somewhere else, is there a specific department that you have to
No,
make that
just
report
call
to?
949-4222 and make a report, or turn up at Georgetown Police Station.
All right. On that note, we're going to take that quick break, Susan.
Homeowners, protecting your family and property is crucial during the season, and you should always assess insurance needs long before a storm makes landfall. Most insurers won't issue new policies or increases when a storm is imminent. Cayman Insurance Center's team of professionals can help owners like you find the most comprehensive coverage and competitive rates. Call the insurance professionals at Cayman Insurance Center 949-4657 or email info@cic.com.ky. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call Cayman Insurance Center's insurance professionals today at 949-4657.
How life treating you? I don't know how you do it. Traffic, errands, and don't forget work and chores. There is no time. I need to get Sarah a dental check, and Grandpa needs a checkup too.
Oh, I'm no supermom at all. But if you need all services under one roof, look no further. Try Total Health. They offer such great quality care, and we're able to work with my entire family and our busy schedule. Guess what? They are open 6 days a week and welcome walk-ins too.
Total Health at Grand Pavilion on West Bay Road. From junior's x-rays to your daughter's dental care, their suite of services encompasses diabetology, ophthalmology, gynecology, ENT, physiotherapy, pharmacy, on-site laboratory, imaging, and the list goes on. Total Health is your one-stop convenient family healthcare solution. All the services of a hospital without the hassle.
Total Health in Grand Pavilion. Change the way you manage your family's health. Visit www.totalhealth.ky or call 333-2222.
Radio Cayman, your #1 community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. Good morning if you're just joining us. Thank you for doing so. It's 11 minutes until 9 o'clock, until we bring you the headlines. But in the meantime, we have in the studio Chief Superintendent Brady Ebanks from the RCIPS, alongside PC Jodi-Ann Powery, Media Officer, and spokeswoman for the police. I like to think about it as that. Now, Jodi-Ann or Chief, what is, now we know what the process is like for an investigative response. What is the follow-up like? How can victims stay updated on the status of their case, whether it's traffic or serious crime? What is working well and what needs to change, and how can it be improved? You might want to take one at a time, one question at a time.
Well, Miss Anita, the Chief Superintendent actually implemented some time ago a victim care process. And in that process, throughout the investigative process that I initially spoke on, victims are meant to be updated at every significant or major change in the investigation. So, for instance, if we make an arrest or if we make a charge, a victim is meant to be updated within that time frame. However, those things don't always happen in very quick succession of an investigation being started. Sometimes it takes months in order to gather the evidence enough to get to a point where we can arrest someone or charge someone. So our policy is that a victim is meant to be updated every 28 days or at any significant change in an investigation, whichever is less. If that isn't taking place, then we have a victim care unit, and a victim can, or anyone who is involved in an investigation that requires an update, can call or email the victim care unit for assistance, and they will get in contact with the investigator, get a proper update, and come back to them, or have that investigator make contact with the victim. So the number for the victim care unit is 649-2969, and the email address for the victim care unit is victimcare@rcips.ky. And a few things that a victim would need to know, and anyone who is involved in an investigation should ask before concluding their initial communication with an officer, is an RMS number, which is the report number that is being dealt with. Remember the date of the incident, and know the badge number and the name of the investigator that you're dealing with. And also, it would be helpful to know the type of offense that's being handled, and this would help us to easily pull your report and assist you with getting an update.
And this is for any crime?
Any crime.
Any
incident.
A hit and run, a traffic hit and run, anything. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, once you call in to make a report, your report will be assigned a number.
Okay. Now, take for instance, if there's a traffic incident, right? It went to court, and you've never been advised by the court about the results of what took place. Say far back as 2 years. Can you still go to? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
You can still
have to finish my question.
You can still call the victim care unit. Let them know that your matter was before the court and you've never gotten an update from the court in regards to what the results were for that incident, and that you're asking for their assistance. They would then make contact with the ODPP to find out what process has taken place and where your file is at, and provide you with an update as well.
Because I know personally this has happened to me. I didn't want to say it, right? But the incident went to court, and never heard anything about it. I had to be calling every time, because I look up on the record of court dates, see what's happening, and follow up.
The court is so busy that a lot of times when you call, you probably have to turn up in order to get assistance. So probably through the victim care unit may be even a better route to get that type of information. And like I said to you before, our process with an investigation doesn't finish until a result is ended at court. So we are happy to assist.
Very good. Good to know.
I hope the victim care unit is not listening.
No. Yeah. What? Anything you want to add to that, Chief Superintendent?
No, not to that conversation. I think I'll wait until we bring the robbery discussion back into the center.
Okay. All right. So, what main points would you like to leave with our listeners regarding any of the topics that we discussed here this morning?
So the main points for me would be in relation to the crime prevention, and I'd like to encourage businesses to make sure that they set a plan and that they have security measures in place. But most importantly, just jumping off the back of what the Chief Superintendent said, make sure that you're vigilant and you actually look at the people that you're letting into the store before opening the door, because a lot of time it's a ring the bell type of thing, And, if the store is busy, for instance, they may not look up to see who's there. They might just press the button to open. Let's not do that, because we know that robberies are on the rise, armed robberies in particular. And I think the chief has some information in regards to firearm-enabled robberies that he'd like to share with us. So,
what I can say is that certainly firearms in the Cayman Islands, firearm crimes are certainly on the rise, and there seems to be a palette for firearms. So this year, so far, 10 firearms have been recovered, 6 by the RCIPS and 4 by our law enforcement partners at CBC. In response to these firearms, and I open by saying that this is the ultimate of ultimate importance to us at this time. What actions have we taken? We have actually put additional firearms response on the roads to respond to firearm crimes. We have also activated our CTF, which is activated, but they are concentrating on these robberies. So this is paramount to us. We want to make sure that we get all persons, if possible, that are responsible for these crimes. So, in addition to that, our criminal investigation department is also focusing heavily on robberies as well. So, I think it's fair to say that we are taking this seriously. We have seen a spike in armed robberies before. The last part of 2022 we had a similar spree of robberies, and we got that under control fairly quickly. Number of arrests, firearms recovered, etc., ammunition. We think that we have made some significant arrests, persons who we suspect or believe that are sort of some of the ringleaders. So we will be continue to work diligently and getting those responsible for these recent robberies dealt with.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, do you get tips from the community with regards to those ammunition recovery? The community has been very helpful to us, and we're going to encourage that. What I'm also going to encourage as well is that we suspect that there are friends and family members who know what some of these persons are doing. So do the right thing. Either deter them from committing crimes or report them to the authorities. At the end of the day, we have to do whatever we can to make the Cayman Islands a safer place. And whether that is by the RCIPS doing what we have to do or the community itself, we all have a part to play. Okay. Any thoughts on in Cayman Brac? There's an uptick in crime. Anything you want to share with us as well?
Well, we've seen some uptick in crimes in the Sister Islands as well. But what we have done, we have taken immediate action to lend support to the chief inspector over there. We have sent, whenever something serious has happened, we have sent officers over immediately, whether it's by commercial air or we have to take the helicopter over to make sure that the officers get their response. So we've taken the necessary action with scenes of crime, detectives, traffic officers in the event of an accident. But we always make sure that our sister islands are supported by the staff they need.
Okay. Jodi-Ann, anything you want to leave us?
I just want to reiterate what the chief said and encourage persons in the community to send information as much as possible. Human evidence still remains the most important evidence in an investigation, and we would encourage, if you see something, if you know something, say something. But if you don't want to form part of our investigation, but you have information, then we're happily accept that anonymously as well, whether it be through Crime Stoppers or through our own channels at rcips.ky.
Okay. Now that's it for this morning. Until we see you next month. Thank you so much, Chief Superintendent Brad Ebanks, PC Jodi-Ann Powery. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having us.
I learn something new every time you're in here. Thanks to our sponsors, Cayman Insurance Center and Total Health. Thanks to Susan for holding it down this morning and for producing the Business Buzz until Tuesday, July 18th, when we bring you another Business Buzz. In the meantime, please stay safe. Have a wonderful day from me, your host, Anita Khan. Goodbye.
The Business Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
And Total Health in Grand Pavilion. Change the way you manage your family's health. Visit www.totalhealth.ky or call 333-2222.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's